Ruman, Paul Fix, Cameron Lawrence, and Ernie Francis Jr. They've been leading the pack all season long in America's Road Racing Series, the Trans Am Championship. But when the group makes its annual trip north to Minnesota, they have to face the local heroes. No one knows Brainerd better than Joe Stevens and Tim Gray, Jerry Green, and the legend out of Duluth, the great Tommy Archer. Home state heroes defending their turf next on CBS Sports Network. Welcome to Brainerd International Raceway. We're in Brainerd, Minnesota for coverage of Trans Am, America's Road Racing Series. Today, it's the Ryan Company's Independence Day Classic. Hello again, everyone. I'm Rick Benjamin. NASCAR star Michael McDowell will join me for the call in a moment. Todd Lewis has our coverage today down on pit road. Brainerd is one of Trans Am's historic home racetracks. The series has been coming here since the 1960s. Now it's a new era for Trans Am, and we've got a full field, some 40 cars in Trans Am, TA2 and TA3 ready to do battle. One of the great stories in TA2, legendary champion Tommy Archer at his home racetrack. Tommy, a recent cancer survivor, and he's on the pole here today. He's standing by with Todd.
Happy to have Tommy Archer back with us this weekend in the Trans Am Series. Had a good result in the season opener at Sebring, but then had to miss the last 4 events because of health issues. But back not just here and present, but on the pole.
Is there a better way to return than being up front? I mean, we worked really hard. You know, I ended up having to go back to a Mayo Clinic for some cancer surgery that was, they found a very minute spot in my body that was hiding this piece that wouldn't go away. And the surgeons worked really hard to figure out how they were going to do it. They ended up doing it manually, got it out of me. I worked out really hard before the surgery, worked out really hard after. While I was working out, my crew was building a beautiful piece for me to drive today, and the C3 Camaro has been fast all weekend long.
Haven't missed a beat, qualify on the pole, plus you've raced here a lot, you've had success here, a little hometown help to get you back to the front at the finish of this race as well?
Well, I hope so. You know, racing, you never know. But, you know, right now, we just got to keep our wits about us and, you know, make sure that I do my job. The crew's done their job all weekend long. You know, all of our partners have really stepped up to make this a great showing the first time back. And I'm just here to tell people that you can go out and have life after you've had cancer.
We're happy to have you back. Good luck today. We'd like to see you #1 at the finish of this race as well.
Nothing better for me either.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Great to see Tommy Archer back this weekend here at his home racetrack. Beautiful day for racing. We've got 40 cars in Trans Am, TA2, TA3, International, and American Muscle. We've got the starting lineups for you. Doug Peterson on pole in Trans Am in the 87. He's the 2-time defending series champ. This year's points leader, Amy Ruman, starts alongside.
Amy's been dominant all year. Doug has to put up the fight to stay in this championship.
Cliff Evans, Simon Gregg in row 2. John Baucom, always fast in his Mustang, had problems in practice and qualifying, shotgun on the field. There's Archer, 0.2 of a second quicker than Gar Robinson.
This is always a tight class, very competitive. We got Shane Lewis in the second row, but we also have Dylan. Dylan's been doing fantastic, so close to getting his first victory.
Rest of the field in TA2, Tony Buffamonte in the 34, one of Mike Cope's cars. Ron Keefe back there starting in the 6th row. Joe Stevens, the teammate to points leader Cameron Lawrence. He's one of the local stars in the 7th row in car number 11. How different are the TA2 cars from the full-blown Trans Am 800 horsepower machines? Here's Todd Lewis.
Let's take a look at some of the differences between the TA cars and this TA2 Camaro. The biggest difference? Well, it's right under here, under the hood, the horsepower. In the TA2 class, about 500 horsepower. No slouch, but it's much higher in the Trans Am class. Some of the other differences you'll find here, the shock absorbers, the brakes. They're much more stock pieces on the TA2 class. Another one of the significant differences, bias ply Hoosier tires on the TA2 cars. The difference with these Hoosier tires on the TA model, they're 2 inches wider and they are radial tires. The shocks, the brakes, they're all custom pieces as opposed to stock. And then again, that big difference in the engine, horsepower, about 850 on the Trans Am cars. With that increased horsepower, of course, comes increased cost. It's about a $100,000 investment to race in the TA2 class. These Trans Am cars, north of $250,000.
Full-blown race cars for America's Road Racing Series. Field out on the course here at Brainerd International. Beautiful weekend for racing, Independence Day weekend. There's Adam Andretti in that ECC Components 44 Mustang. Got his first win of the season at New Jersey a couple of weeks ago. Points leader Cameron Lawrence in the 1 car. Take a look at the championship standings. 11 points the margin. Amy Ruman over Paul Fix, who we haven't talked about yet. Fix the winner at Lime Rock.
Paul Fix has been very consistent all year, knocking out those top 3, top 5 finishes, really racking up the points.
Cameron Lawrence now with a 17-point margin over Adam Andretti. Guy Robinson, Dylan McIvern back there tied for 3rd. All those guys are in the hunt.
Adam Andretti's been fast all year, had some mechanical issues. We have seen him in victory lane, but he has to be consistent if he's going to challenge Cameron Lawrence for the championship.
9 TA3 cars, spanning TA3 American Muscle and TA3 International. There's Ernie Francis Jr. in the Breathless Performance Chevrolet. He's the TA3 American Muscle defending champ and the points leader right now. The Lux Performance Vipers of Cindy Lux and her driving partner Steve Strymer, the rookie out of Portland, Oregon. They're at the head of the TA3 International field of those 2 Vipers. We'll show you the TA3i starting lineup. Jerry Green, the 3rd car in a Porsche in TA3 International this weekend here at Brainerd International Raceway. Ernie Francis, Todd Napierowski on the front row of TA3 American. Jason Fichter and Mel Shaw. Tim Rubright and Fernando Cephalus will make up the rest of that starting lineup. There you get a look at the very tight pit road. This is turn 12, and now we're coming to the right-hand turn 13. The safety car will come off here. Michael McDowell will see the green flag as the field arcs up around the sweeping turn 1 and 2, heading toward 3, but the checkered flag will come out on the pit road straightaway. Amy Ruman on the right, 2nd fast qualifier and points leader. Doug Peterson, the 2-time defending champion in the yellow 87, and we are green and going at Brainerd.
And Doug Peterson got a great start, got the jump on Amy Ruman. Let's see if he can hold it down into turn 2 here.
Peterson on the outside, trying to close the door on Ruman, and he does. Evan is 3rd. Simon Gregg is 4th. Mickey Wright at the tail of the field. Here's Archer in the blue C3 car, the 54, leading the T2 field into turn 3.
Everybody's clean so far. We stay green. That's a great start. Very tight racetrack. Not a lot of room for mistakes. You have to be on point today.
A lot of battling at the front of the TA2 group as they move down toward the keyhole. Here's your Trans Am category leading the overall standings. Doug Peterson on top in the 87. Ruman 2nd in the McNichols Company 23. Evan 3rd in that Ford, the 36. We get an onboard look from our Replay XD onboard cameras. Doug Peterson's 3dimensional.com Chevrolet, hoping to get his first win of the season here.
And this is what you want to see if you're Doug Peterson. Cars out the back, nothing out the front, trying to take control of this race.
Amy Ruman, though, right on his back bumper through the keyhole, heading to the front straightaway here at Brainerd International Raceway. Brainerd's been around since the 60s. It was originally known as Donnybrook International Raceway. Cliff Evan, meantime, starting now, and 1 car off. That's Paul Fix into the grass on the pit road straightaway. Paul Fix loses positions in the Stopflex 4 car.
And Paul Fix had a little mistake there, ran wide, lost some momentum. He's just got to regroup and get back into his rhythm.
At New Jersey, the last time out for Trans Am, Fix ran 2nd to Amy Ruman. He's tight behind her in the points chase. Before the start this weekend, we talked to Paul Fix, the driver of the 4 car, about what this championship would mean to him if he could close the deal this year.
As I've always said, I'm here to win the championship. And so we've made great gains on every single race. We've 2 or 3 poles in a row. We missed it this time, but we're just keep, racking up the points and look to the season end.
Now, it's easy to take a long-term view, Michael McDowell. You've been in this situation many, many times, but it's all about today's race. When you lose your momentum like that, it's hard to get it back. Cindy Lux out in front right now at TA3 International in her Lux Performance Dodge Viper. She's campaigned these cars for a long time, leading her teammate Steve Strymer. Fix has got to get his head screwed back on straight.
Well, Fix has had a couple great weekends, obviously winning the race at Lime Rock, runner-up at New Jersey, but Amy's been on fire. She's been the fastest car every weekend, and to beat Amy, you're going to have to win these races. So Paul's got a lot of work to do if he wants to take that championship.
Our 3-dimensional services group, Trans Am running order, top of your screen, Jim McAleese in 7th, Paul Fix in 8th. Heavy traffic here at Brainerd. Todd, how do you find your way by somebody?
So many areas of this track to keep an eye on. I did a survey of some of the local drivers of areas to watch for, areas that are good for passing. Some like 3, between 7 and 8 is good, turn 12 is good. 1, a lot of things expected to happen in corner number 1. Cars may spin, cars may get past, that's good. One area I was told to avoid, turn number 2. You can pass there, but it is a very fine margin of error. If you miss, you could miss big. Going to be fun to watch.
Adam Andretti trying to hit all his marks in the cool shirt 44, the ECC car, as he closes in on Cameron Lawrence.
Adam Andretti just got his first win a few weeks ago in New Jersey. We've seen him fast. Can he get back to victory lane?
We'll find out when we continue from Brainerd International Raceway.
Trans Am Racing on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Ryan Companies US, Integrated Commercial Real Estate Solutions. By 3-Dimensional Services Group, Prototype, Production, Proven. And by Universal Technical Institute, chosen by industry, ready to work.
Welcome back to Brainerd International Raceway. Trouble on pit road. Shane Lewis and the other 74 Ranch Resort Chevrolet. Early laps, and he's up on the jack stands. Here's Todd.
You can see the frustration of the driver as he came down pit road, banging the steering wheel. The crew goes underneath to work on it. The transmission stuck in 4th gear. That's the problem. They're going to knock it out and send him back away.
Being stuck in 4th gear on a tight, twisty track like this is never going to be good. We see John Bauckham looks like he has a flat left front tire trying to get off the racetrack and on pit road.
John Bauckham, who had to start at the back. They've had problems all week long in that racecarparts.com Ford. Bauckham to pit road. He's been a championship contender many times over the years, looking for his first victory of the season. Heavy traffic as they exit turns 12 and 13. Up front, the top 2 still Peterson and Amy Ruman, and there's Cliff Evan in his Ford running 3rd in that 36 car, hanging right with the leaders.
And this is fun. We got all the classes back on the racetrack. Going to be a lot of traffic, and this is a narrow racetrack, so how you navigate those cars that you're putting laps down is going to be very, very important.
Peterson closing in on one of the TA3 International entries, the Porsche 911 right in front of him. Jerry Green going a lap down to the race leader as Peterson in the 87 car, the 3-Dimensional Services.com Chevrolet, cuts a nice left-hand corner. This is difficult, Mike. You're at high speed at this portion of the racetrack.
Well, absolutely. Like we said, this is a very narrow racetrack, and we're side by side. Amy Rubin challenging for the lead.
Rubin on the outside. Peterson drags the brakes, locks him up a little bit, and gives up the top spot.
That was great. Doug Peterson went in as far as he could, locked up the front tires, and Amy was ready to pounce.
Now Amy Ruman taking over in the early laps here at Brainerd International Raceway, and Peterson will have to try to mount a comeback. He gave up a lot of track position. Evans all over the back end of the 87. Cliff Evans challenging. Here's another look at the pass for the lead.
And Amy saw a hole. It was very, very tight hole, but she made it work.
Able to squirt that 23 car into the gap there. Peterson trying to hold her off. Too much brake.
And Doug did exactly what you're supposed to do. He did everything he could to get that lead back. You have a very small window to challenge, and Amy took that opportunity.
Now, in a place like this where you've got such tight corners in a section of this racetrack, you give up a lot of momentum there. It's hard to get it back, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, very tight, technical. And what Doug has to do, he's very good at managing these races, get back into his rhythm, and catch back up to Amy.
Meantime, more problems for Shane Lewis. Let's get it back to Todd.
That's right, guys. A second trip down pit lane for the 72. Caught speeding when he made that earlier green flag stop for the transmission problems. Now painfully slow down pit lane.
And you've been in this spot, I've been in this spot before, is that you're trying to get to pit road, you have a problem, you're not thinking clearly, and you just make a mistake and speed down pit road.
So Lewis giving up his opportunity to challenge for a win, most likely here today in this 100-mile battle on Independence Day weekend. Doug Peterson slicing under one of the TA3 cars with Cliff Evan right there. That's Todd Napierowski in the Tremec 39 Chevrolet. And right behind him, Jason Fichter, the rookie out of Jupiter, Florida, running 3rd in TA3 American Muscle. Amy Ruman setting her own pace now. Clean racetrack in front of that 23. Here's Peterson and Evan. And this is where the speed differential starts to show itself here at Brainerd, because you're pretty much flat through this section, right?
It's a wide open, I'll call it a kink, and these Trans Am cars are 140, 150 miles an hour through those corners. So that's the only spot on the racetrack where you can really stretch your legs.
Peterson and Eben fighting for second. Jerry Green from Minnetonka, Minnesota, down near the Twin Cities of the 93 car in TA3 International. Sitting third right now in that category in his Porsche 911. Heading toward that hard right-hander at the end of one of the fast straightaways. Cindy Lux leads TA3 International. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Brainerd International Raceway. A lot of folks celebrating Independence Day weekend, the Ryan Company's Independence Day Classic. As we cover Trans Am, America's Road Racing Series. With Michael McDowell, I'm Rick Benjamin. Todd Lewis with our coverage today on Pit Road. TA3 American Muscle, Ernie Francis Jr. in the breathless Chevrolet, the 98, the defending series champion. Doing a great job here. Young guy, still a teenager, really gets after it in that car.
Yeah, this is something that we're used to seeing. We're used to seeing Ernie Francis Jr. up front.
Oh, trouble. That's Joe Eben in the TA2 Mustang, the 14 out of Wisconsin, nearly clobbering the bridge abutment there. Protected by some tires. He gets back up on the racetrack. Doesn't lose much time.
And very lucky to get away with that. Only a little bit of cosmetic damage, some splitter damage, but that could have been disastrous.
That's a car out of the Tony Ave Motorsports shops in Maiden, North Carolina, just outside Charlotte. Doesn't look like he disrupted the aero too much on the front either.
And really didn't lose that much time in the process, so very lucky break.
Joe Eben running back in 13th position behind race leader Tommy Archer. Out of Duluth, Minnesota, the C3 Control Chevrolet, the 54 out of the Archer Brothers stables. Tommy and Bobby Archer, Trans Am stars going back into the 80s and 90s in the legendary history of this series. Great to have the Archer Brothers back, fielding cars for a lot of top drivers. To have Tommy back in the seat, feeling good again and feeling fast here at his home track.
A dominant performance, just very smooth, in control of this race.
In second spot, Gar Robinson out of San Antonio, Texas, in the 74 Ranch Resort machine. Adam Andretti in the ECC Controls Ford, the 44, trying to hang on to the leaders. He had a problem just a short time ago. Let's take a look back. Adam Andretti into the left-hander.
And Adam just dropped the wheel on the entry, got the car sideways, and spun out.
Whoa! Big spin into the dust. He is backwards. Todd Lewis on Pit Road. What's going on in the Andretti camp?
Yeah, guys, it's been a tough afternoon for the 44 car. Adam Andretti did bounce off the wall, did a little off-roading, and he did make a stop along pit road. Crew had a look at it and sent it back out. The troubles will continue, though. Appears to be having some brake issues. It's greasy out there, they've told me, but also those brakes certainly aren't helping the situation. They're going to soldier on and do as best they can.
Adam's dad, Aldo Andretti, there on the headset. Aldo, a legendary sprint car champion of years past. Let's listen in.
Sorry about that, guys. That wasn't the brake, that was my fault. You know, I dropped a wheel on entry to the carousel. And I just did it again, and I didn't crash, but I know what happened, so I'm sorry, guys. That one was on me. Really sorry. Just hang in there, we'll be all right, we'll be all right. Friction could start to happen now. Some guys are going to start to fall out and have problems, so we'll be okay.
All right, so Adam Andretti's crew saying, don't worry about it, we'll be okay, even though he just went a lap down to Tommy Archer. Unforced errors can kill you in this sport.
Oh, absolutely, especially when you're trying to challenge for a championship. But what I like there, Adam telling his team, hey, that's on me, I made the mistake. You know, that's hard to do as a driver, and his team's backing behind him, say, it's all right, we're back in the game, we got to get as many points as we can.
TA3 leader in the American Muscle category, Ernie Francis Jr. out of Florida, the defending champion in this category. Doing a nice job, as usual, not putting a wheel wrong.
Yeah, I'm so impressed with Ernie Francis. Like I said in the earlier, he's winning all these races, he's dominating, but he's very in control. He's a very young race car driver. I hope to see him in the TA category soon.
It'll be fun to see him make that progression up through the ranks. Amy Ruman, meantime, leading this one and pulling away now from Doug Peterson.
Yeah, Doug lost that momentum. Then he was battling with Cliff Evan. Amy is just setting sail, managing the traffic well. She's been so fast all year long, and she is determined to win this championship.
Our Replay XD onboard view from Amy Ruman's 23 car, the McNichols Chevrolet. There's Peterson running second. Moving inside, Ron Keith's TA2 Mustang. Cliff Evan in the 36 running in third position. The look back from the tail cam of Doug Peterson's machine, the three-dimensionalservices.com Chevrolet. They provide our running order for you at the top of the screen as well, as we are working lap 16 today here at Brainerd International Raceway. And there's Peterson, two-time defending champion in Trans Am. Struggling a bit this year, has not yet been to victory lane, sitting second as we approach halfway today here at Brainerd. We'll be right back.
Trans Am Racing on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Racing Electronics, #1 in race communications worldwide. And by Replay XD. The new Prime X is here. Record, replay.
Back at Brainerd International Raceway, Brainerd, Minnesota, the Ryan Company's Independence Day Classic. Coverage of Trans Am, America's road racing series. TA2 points leader Cameron Lawrence Jr. in that Dodge Challenger with the Hemi power. Not yet able to get to the front here.
And Cameron Lawrence has been so fast all year long, winning races. But one thing that we see is these...
Whoa! The 70 of Tony Ave with that big move to the inside, trying to move up a spot.
Now that's the corner we talked about earlier. Todd mentioned you try not to pass him, but Tony Ave, with his experience, opened the gap and went for it.
Tony Ave moving up a spot now. Got his first TA2 win at Lime Rock Park in Connecticut back in the month of May. Former Trans Am Series champion, young Lawrence, the two-time defending TA2 champion. Some of the field starting to catch up a little bit to the advantage that one car has had.
Absolutely, and I think that this track in particular, Brainerd, the Challenger has a hard time with the tight, twisty tracks. We saw it at Lime Rock. We're seeing it here again. They want long straightaways where they can open up that Hemi power and really get that thing sailing down the straightaways.
Meantime, problems for Paul Fix in TA, driving the 4 car. Let's see what happened to Fix, our 5th fast qualifier earlier. On board here with Simon Gregg in the 59. Fix on the right-hand side, passing. Into the corner. Oh! What, did Fix turn down on Simon there?
Well, really what happened there is they were trying to navigate through lap traffic, split the car, and they met in the middle. Both of them didn't know they were going to be getting into the corner. Unfortunate circumstances.
I think the steering is broke.
Okay. All right. Don't worry about it.
I think he broke the steering. I can't turn left.
10-4.
Sounds like a rack problem or an A-arm.
Yeah, that was a hard hit to take into that left front tire. More than likely broke the suspension and definitely going to be done for the day for Paul Fix.
Jim McAleese's 03 car running in the top 5 too. The Jetco Engineering Chevrolet off as well. And our caution flag is waving here at Brainerd International Raceway. So the safety car heads back out on the racetrack. And we'll pick up Amy Ruman as the race leader. So trouble for a couple of our Trans Am contenders. For Paul Fix, as we ride here with Cameron Lawrence, a guy who's got championship aspirations. You don't want to see your day come to an end early.
Absolutely. The points are critical, especially at this point in the championship. We heard Paul earlier saying, hey, we're here. We want to win the championship. This is definitely going to hurt those efforts.
Safety truck out to try to collect McAleese, the McAleese and Associates 03 car. Jim, a consistent runner this season, has picked it up considerably here in 2015. And another driver in TA2, Tim Gray from Ryan Companies US, moving up from TA3 International to TA2 and just starting to get comfortable with his Chevrolet Camaro. Running here this weekend at his home racetrack, his company sponsoring the event. Todd talked to him earlier.
Tim Gray is one of our competitors competing in TA2. Now, this is a move up for you. You raced previously in TA3, sold that car, moved on to this one. You've also got lots of other experience at this track.
Yes, I originally started on this track in go-karts, which is no longer in use, but then I went to spec racers, and I've raced spec racers off and on here for probably 20 years.
Now, tell me about some of the things that have been challenges for you moving up to TA2.
This car has got a lot more power. It's very bulky. It's harder to control. It's not as quick to turn. However, the competition is great in this class, and I look forward to competing in this for a few years.
So Tim Gray, a real supporter of the sport, his company Ryan Companies US, backing this weekend here. Michael McDowell moving from a Porsche 911, a mid-engine car, to a front-engine Camaro, even with more power. That's a change for a driver.
Absolutely. You got a lot of momentum. You got a heavy car. And coming from that spec racer is even a bigger transition. So a little bit of work to do.
Amy Ruman's got work to do, but she'll be the restart leader when we come back. Welcome back to Brainerd International Raceway, the Ryan Company's Independence Day Classic for the Trans Am Championship. Amy Ruman is the restart leader. Right behind her in TA2, that's Tony Abe's 70 car, Cameron Lawrence in the 1. Safety car will pull off here. We'll get the green flag as the field heads up toward turns 1 and 2, and you've got a long run here to get on the gas.
And Amy has a great advantage here. Having two TA2 cars in between her and Doug Peterson will open up a gap.
Peterson able to slice by Cameron Lawrence. Doug driving the yellow 87 car. Cliff Eben in the white Mustang, the 36, putting a lot of pressure on him for second spot.
That is very tight, very close right there. Tony Ave staying in the gas. I'm not sure Cliff Evans going to be very happy with that.
All right, trouble here as Tommy Archer and Steve Strymer get together. Adam Andretti off into the dirt trying to avoid the trouble. Strymer running second in TA3 International to his teammate Cindy Lux. Archer was leading as they accelerated through turn 1, heading up the banking toward turn 2. Strymer able to get going again. He loses a lot of track position. Doesn't look like there's much damage to the car, but Adam Andretti stalled in the grass, having to refire the 44 and come back up onto the racetrack. Let's take another look at what happened. Traffic jam on the restart.
And Tommy Archer there was trying to get into a hole that wasn't quite there. Not intentional. He was racing hard with Ernie Francis Jr. Restarts will create these types of opportunities, and unfortunately, a little bit of contact was made.
Trying to move around Jerry Green's car and cutting to the left. He caught the Viper and turned Strymer around at a place where you are on it hard.
Man, high speed, very lucky to get away with that without collecting more cars.
Top 3 in Trans Am, Ruben, Peterson, and Cliff Eben. One of the likely contenders today, Paul Fix on the sidelines after having problems, contact with Simon Gregg several laps ago. Broken steering rack, it appears. He's on pit road with our Todd Lewis.
Paul Fix has made his way back to pit lane. You look to be on the move, but what happened out there?
Well, lap cars had slowed me down a little bit, made a clean pass, and out of nowhere, this idiot Simon Gregg, who's supposedly one of the series owners and a previous series champion, comes out of nowhere and blindsides me, destroys my front steering rack. I mean, you'd think that this guy would have a lot more ability than he proved today. And you know what? Payback's a...
Well, harsh words coming from Paul Fix. Simon Gregg racing hard. Drivers make mistakes. Understand the frustration by Paul, but obviously Simon Gregg, a very, very great race car driver. I'm sure after a little bit of time they'll work that out.
8th time for second spot in Trans Am. Cliff Eben catching Doug Peterson out on the outside, and Eben just blowing by the 87 car for second spot.
Now, Cliff Evans been stalking Doug Peterson this entire race. I'm not sure if Doug is struggling at this point, but Cliff may have something for Amy.
Cliff Eben in that Mustang out of Wisconsin. Home territory for him at Brainerd International Raceway, not far from his home base. Trying to make some moves and close the gap on the McNichols Chevrolet. The 23 of race leader Amy Rubin. She's been out in front since virtually the start of this one as we work on lap 26. Peterson back in third, trying to gather himself back up and close back in. Let's listen in for Doug Peterson's radio transmission.
High speed understeer, high speed understeer. Yeah, motor's definitely coughing now. Coughing. 10-4.
Doug saying the motor may be off note just a little bit.
I'm not really sure what's causing that, but in the late stages of this races, you cannot have these problems, especially for Doug Peterson. He needs to close that gap to Amy Ruman in the points. This is not helping that championship fight.
TA2 meantime, big fight and trouble as they come through turn 13. One car off the pace. That's Justin Napoleon's car, and that gave Gar Robinson the opportunity to pass Tommy Archer and take the lead.
I'm not sure what happened to Tommy Archer there. Hopefully we'll get a replay.
On board here with Justin Napoleon in the 90. That's Joe, his dad, up front in the 91 car. Archer on the outside, and there's contact.
Very unfortunate. Tommy Archer leading this race, trying to get around lap traffic, ends up losing the lead with contact with cars that are several laps down.
Now Tommy Archer will put his head down and try to get back into contention as he moves by Justin Napoleon's 90. Looked like when they went into the right-hander 13, he just turned down a little too far.
And it's very difficult in these cars. You know, it's very hard to see out of your mirrors. Probably didn't know that Tommy was on the inside there and was just holding his line. Very difficult to say, but obviously this is going to hurt Tommy Archer's chances of winning this race.
The C3 controls Chevrolet, a pole sitter Tommy Archer giving up the lead with that contact in turns 12 and 13. Let's get back on board. That's the race leader up in front of him, Gar Robinson there in the 74 Ranch Resort Chevrolet.
Absolutely. Race is not over. Tommy Archer's been dominant all day. He's had the quickest car. Let's hopefully see if he can make up that gap.
Speaking of dominant cars, the 23 of Amy Ruman, the McNichols Company Chevrolet. Cliff Evan, though, about 10 or 12 car lengths back, not giving up.
I'm excited to see if Cliff Evan can take the fight to Amy. Amy's done a great job of managing these races, especially in the closing laps.
Meantime, Jason Fichter out of Florida has taken over at TA3 American Muscle. Problems for race leader Ernie Francis Jr. as he comes out of the right-hander. Must be overheating.
When you see that much water come out of the overflow, definite sign that that is something terminal. Not going to be able to fix it today.
So Ernie Francis Jr., who dominated, started on the pole and led the first 20-some laps, in trouble in TA3A. Had a foot cam in Tommy Archer's 54 car. Watch this guy who's been doing this at a high level for 30-some years. Heel and toe his way around Brainerd.
Now this is a great video on board here. Always fun to watch the footwork, especially of a master like Tommy Archer.
Right foot on the throttle, working the brake, left foot on the clutch. Some guys set their clutch pedal and brake pedal up differently, don't they?
And really, it's driver comfort. You got to have flexibility. You got to know where to have your feet.
Pretty traditional. Tommy Archer set up, an artist at work in his TA2 machine. Guy Robinson, though, leads TA2 at Brainerd. Welcome back to Brainerd International Raceway. Trans Am Racing on CBS Sports Network, getting down to the final few laps here today. Guy Robinson's team watching the 74 Ranch Resort bunch. They've had heroes and zeros kind of today. Gar taking the lead from Tommy Archer earlier. Shane Lewis with that problem. Car stuck in gear. They had to bring him to pit road. Then the penalty. So the 72 car not nearly as much a factor today as we might have expected. Amy Ruman, meantime, not putting a wheel wrong so far here this afternoon.
And Amy has stretched that lead back out on Cliff Evan. When she has to go, it seems like she can stretch her legs and pull out that lead. Doing a great job and just adding points to her already big points lead.
Evan in second, doing a nice job of the Mustang, the 36 car. One of the things you run into in Trans Am racing a lot of time late in these events, track starts to get a little dirty. You've got a lot of cars. It's a tight racetrack. A lot of people have put a wheel off today. Track gets dirty. It's hard to make ground up.
Absolutely. You're not just dealing with rubber and dirt, but we saw Ernie Francis Jr., all the water, oil, all these things on the racetrack. It's hot. It's slick. The drivers are heated at this point. Very easy to make a mistake.
Meantime, one car off toward the concrete barriers. That's Lawrence Loshak's TA2 machine, probably hot under the collar at the very least. Loshak had to start at the back this weekend after problems and made it up to 11th, but he has gone off the racetrack at that high-speed part of the course. Let's take a look at what happens here with Loshak. Just gets that right rear off in the dirt.
Yeah, and what he was trying to do is just get to the outside of the lap cars, put a wheel off in the dirt and slid off. You could hear how upset he was, pushing hard, trying to get as many spots as he could. Just a little bit mistake.
Speaking of pushing hard, Dylan McIvern in the 24. Tommy Riggins oversees that race car. McIvern on the move, getting by Tommy Archer here for second spot.
And what a great pass. Tommy Archer has been closing the gap on Gar Robinson, but now there's a three-way battle for the lead.
As they close in on Joe Stevens and the other challenger, the 11, to put him a lap down. Archer able to reestablish second over McIvern.
Exchanging blows there, corner to corner. Tommy Archer comes out on top.
Now there's lap traffic in front of Gar Robinson. Robinson, a rookie in Trans Am competition, a young driver who's made a lot of headway this year. Tommy, the KG veteran, he gets right up on the back bumper of the 74.
And this is just great racing. Gar's got to do everything he can to get a few cars in between him and Tommy Archer.
Tim Rubright's TA3 American Mustang on the inside, moving over, letting the faster TA2 iron get by. Mickey right there. And the fan rag 6. Oh, and Archer off into the grass again.
Not something we see often, but this is the second time we've seen Tommy Archer drop wheels off on the very same corner.
Rush hour in turns 12 and 13 as the leaders come up on lap traffic. McIvern working his way to the outside of Strymer in the 42. That's Cindy Lux, actually. Let's take another look here on board Tommy Archer. Whoa!
Just carrying too much speed in the corner, got a little bit wide, and those types of mistakes will take you out of the chances of winning a race.
So Guy Robinson emerges from that with the lead still in TA2 in that 74 Ranch Resort car. Still trying to get by Joe Stevens in that lime green Challenger. They're working on another lap car in TA2 up in front there. And here's McIvern now back into second spot, putting tons of heat on the race leader.
And McIvern sliding that car. We're back on board with Tommy Archer. Now he's watching this. He's paying close attention. Where can I find a hole? Where are they going to make a mistake? I got to time this perfect. Maybe I can get both cars in the same corner. A lot happening right here.
Left side of your screen, Tommy's footwork there. When we say heel and toe, he's using the toe on the brake, and he'll just clip the gas with the heel of that right foot.
And this is a great shot. Like I said, this is watching a surgeon in the room. He's doing a masterful job with those pedals. This is something that is very hard to do. A lot of people with left foot brake, especially on a tight technical track like this. Tommy Archer does what he does. This is what he's done his entire career, not changing.
So Archer, the pole sitter, third, but in a challenging position as the laps wind down. Working lap 38, just a couple to go here today. As they go 3 wide, coming toward turn 12. On the inside, Robinson. McIvern right with him as they go to put the 97 a lap down, and Robinson does so.
And that's what Gar needed to do, just get some cars in between him so that he can open up a gap. Let's see if he can do that.
Fantastic battling in TA2. This is where tons of action happens in Trans Am racing every week. And McIvern now to the outside as they accelerate up through turns 1, 2, and 3. Top 3 are nose to tail again as they navigate the lap cars.
Now Dylan's got 2 things going on here. He's looking at Gar, figuring out how do I close that gap, and he's got Tommy Archer breathing down his neck.
Tommy Archer's team, the Archer Brothers group from nearby Duluth, Minnesota. They've been at it an awfully long time and very, very high level of excellence. And their driver, pole sitter Tommy Archer, closing back in on the top 2 in the left-hand turn. Oh, one car gets sideways. That's Mickey Wright's machine. Mickey Wright in Trans Am at the tail end of that field, running in 10th spot, and McIvern able to move by Gar Robinson.
So unfortunate for Gar there.
On board with Gar as he's behind Archer now, trying to get back into the hunt. Slower car and Trans Am causing problems for the TA2 contenders. And Gar Robinson really on the gas hard here, knowing he's running out of time.
Yeah, these guys are pushing 110%, sliding those cars around. Very, very intense times.
Amy Ruman coming toward the white flag as the race leader. She sees the white. 1 to go for Ruman, probably 2 to go for the TA2 class leaders. McIvern in front of Archer and Gar Robinson here.
It really doesn't get any better than this TA2 class. I mean, this has been a great show all year long, battling for the lead. We have a 3-way battle all the way through the field, and here comes Amy Ruman leading the TA class hands down, but she's still got a lot of traffic to navigate.
Amy to the inside with a much faster car. The overall race leader, top 3 in TA2 are just up ahead here. One of the Archer cars moving left. That's the red car, the red Camaro you saw with the yellow stripe, the 52. And on board here with Gar Robinson, who had led several laps today before running on a racetrack as he tried to get by a slower car.
And we got something very interesting to develop here. We got Shane Lewis, his Gar's teammate, just a few cars ahead that we can see there. He's several laps down, had problems early in the race. He may play a factor in getting Gar back to the front.
Amy Ruman in the McNichol Chevrolet. Let's get on board with the points leader, the 23 car. Amy won the first couple this season, starting at Sebring, then on to Homestead and Road Atlanta. Looking to get back into victory lane today here at Brainerd International Raceway in the Independence Day Weekend Classic. She is unchallenged in the overall category and in Trans Am, but the battling in TA2 still hot and heavy. Robinson, McIvern, Archer as Bruce Nesbitt comes by. Kerry Hitt in a Trans Am car. Shane Lewis there. McIvern seeing the white flag. He'll have 1 to go, and Archer trying to elbow by him, and the checkered flag over Amy Ruman. She wins the Independence Day Classic here at Brainerd. The race in TA2, though, still raging.
Amy did a fantastic job taking home the victory, but we got a crazy battle going on for TA2 that's still on the racetrack.
Let's pick that up as the leaders head up toward turns 2 and 3. That's Shane Lewis a couple of laps down. McIvern in the gray 24. That's a Mustang. Tommy Archer, the pole sitter, running second in that Camaro. They have started to pull away now from Gar Robinson.
And Shane Lewis did the right thing, got out of the way, let these guys battle it out head to head.
Archer in the C3 Controls Chevrolet, his onboard camera. Watching Tommy trying to reel in Dylan McIvern. McIvern able to grab the lead in heavy traffic several laps ago. And they come up on some slower traffic. Last few corners here at Brainerd International Raceway, coming toward the keyhole. Dylan McIvern with a left-hander and then a couple of rights to go to get him home, trying to grab his first career victory in TA2 in the Ryan Company's Independence Day Classic. Closing in on the 50 of Bruce Nesbitt. He's got some worries there. Nesbitt may not know he's there. Nesbitt forces McIvern into the dirt. Archer trying to pounce here in the last couple of corners.
And that's what Dylan did not want to see. The lap traffic wasn't aware that he's there. Tommy Archer's pushing hard, but Dylan's going to get his first victory of the year. Unbelievable race all the way to the checkers.
Dylan McIvern is your winner. The youngster out of Vermont in the 24 car takes the victory. Tommy Archer in the C3 Control Chevrolet will have to settle for second in Trans Am 2. We'll come back and talk to the winners in Trans Am, TA2 and TA3.
Trans Am Racing on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Ryan Companies US, Integrated Commercial Real Estate Solutions, and by 3-Dimensional Services Group, Prototype, Production, Proven.
Back at Brainerd International Raceway in Victory Lane, Amy Ruman triumphing overall and in Trans Am today in the McNichols Company Chevrolet. Dylan McIvern in the 24 car taking his first win in TA2. Veteran Tommy Riggins oversees that team for Dylan and his bunch, the Heritage Motorsports team. Great job for the youngster out of Vermont here today. Todd Lewis ready to talk to our winning drivers downstairs as we take a look at our Universal Technical Institute results in Trans Am today. Ruman, Cliff Evan in second, Peterson, David Pintark, and Kerry Hitt, your top 5.
We saw a lot of action, but what we saw is Amy Ruman dominate this race.
Todd ready to talk to our race winner.
Amy, you sure had to fight for the lead today, but once you got it, it sure didn't look like you wanted to relinquish it.
I did not. What a race today, boy. This McNichols 23, to God be the glory for this race. I'll tell you, they threw everything they could at us. It was slippery, it was hot, it was dirty, dusty. Cliff was on me, Doug was on me, and what a pass on Doug. That was great. We had a great setup for that, and I couldn't be happier with my team. They worked so hard for me day in and day out, and this is just awesome.
Helps her in the championship extend the lead today, fellas.
5 out of 6 so far for Amy Ruman. The chase for the Trigon Trophy from 3-Dimensional Services Group. With the victory, Amy Ruman now nearly 40 points to the good.
It's going to be hard to stop Amy. She's got confidence, she's got momentum, and their team is just hitting on all 8 cylinders every weekend.
Halfway through the season, Cameron Lawrence is still the leader, but Dylan McIvern closes the gap. 22 points is the margin. Guy Robinson, Adam Andretti tied for third. Todd Lewis ready to talk to our winner.
Dylan, you guys may win the award for the biggest enthusiastic celebration after that victory. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a long time coming. We had 3 seconds this year, and we were just waiting for that win, and it finally came. The team worked so hard this week. We actually unloaded pretty bad. It's our first time ever at Brainerd. So we worked really hard. Every session we were getting faster. I can't thank the Heritage Motorsports team enough for bringing me an awesome car. It made my job easy.
So Dylan McIvern is your winner. Archer has to settle for second ahead of Guy Robinson. Cameron Lawrence, the 2-time series champ, and Tony Ave, the top 5. Shane Lewis, despite the penalty, ends up 6th.
Yeah, salvaged a great finish. There was a lot of action in TA2. TA3 was also a great race.
All right, let's find out more. Here's Todd.
Jason came close earlier this season, but scored the victory today. How wild was it out there?
You know, it was pretty great out there. The crew gave me an awesome car. It was a hard battle. We were having fuel issues. We were running out of fuel, so I was trying to conserve. I just want to thank the sponsors. Mothers Donate Life and Fuel Clothing. And just want to say I'm doing this for all the grandmas out there. I know Ernie Jr. was trying to do it for his grandma, but had some issues with the car, so it's for all them.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Jason Fichter, your winner in TA3 American Muscle, your Universal Technical Institute results. Napieralski second over Rubright. Ernie Francis Jr., who led a lot of laps today, has to settle for 6th. TA3 International, the winner is Cindy Lux, and Todd's with her.
Cindy, I think the smile on your face says it all. How good does this feel?
It's just nice to see the checker. This year has been a real struggle for us, but I think we've kind of kicked that bad bug syndrome and stuff like that. So it was a great race. It was fun. This place is the first time I've been here. It is absolutely just phenomenal. It's a driver's track. I dig it.
Congratulations.
Cindy Lux out of Portland, Oregon, making it Ladies' Day. 2 of our 4 winners today, women drivers here in the Trans Am event at Brainerd International Raceway. Michael McDowell, wild action start to finish here today.
Absolutely, just like we see every week in the Trans Am Series, a lot of racing, a lot of battling, and today did not disappoint at all.
Congratulating our winners, Amy Ruman, Cindy Lux, Jason Fichter, and Dylan McIvern. For Michael McDowell and Todd Lewis, I'm Rick Benjamin. Thanks for watching the Trans Am Championship.